Local
Oh,
government, small business.
local business is small. Okay.
They had me talk again on what the hearing board does, and
Right. Oh my gosh, that was
it's illumination. Like, oh, that's what you guys do.
Yeah.
So we are streaming live, folks, and we are recording to the cloud. So we're good, Madam Chair. And we have one
Okay.
more attendee here, Josen Stutz.
It's Dr. Stutz from
Dr. Stutz, excuse me.
from UCLA, but
He's
he'll
not
be
promoted.
nobody. Yes, and nobody is going to be appearing, but I'm glad to know that he is on.
Okay.
And Madam Clerk, we are ready is on your end as well. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, the hearing board of the South Coast Air Quality Management District.
I think she's cutting in and out, Julie.
She's frozen over here.
Julie, you're frozen here too.
It's frozen.
Oh, my internet connection is unstable. Okay. Does everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Do you hear me strong and fine? I'll start again.
Yes.
Okay. Just indicate. Everybody wave at me if I see Faye joined, but I think Rosalinda is back out again. Let me see if I see her.
There she is on the bottom.
She comes back. Okay. Okay, Madam Clerk, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm going to start again because my internet connection failed. Sorry if that happens again. The hearing board of the South Coast Air Quality Management District is in session. Today is
Austin.
September 15th. Are you not hearing me?
No.
I can hear you.
It's not, you're cutting in and out.
I'm cutting in and out on Rosalinda's end. Anybody else hear me
Yes.
cutting in and out?
I can hear you fine.
Okay. I hear, Rosalind, I hear you cutting in and out, actually. Okay, I'm gonna try again.
Yeah. I just
All
got
right.
the screen pop up that said your internet connection is unstable. I just saw it pop up over here on my screen.
That's yours, Don.
Yeah.
Okay, let us know, Rosalind, if you don't hear something, because I want to make sure when we're marking documents in particular.
All right.
Okay, so the South Coast, the hearing board of the South Coast Air Quality Management District is indeed in session. Today is still September 15th, 2020, and the time is 9:00 a.m. We are meeting remotely via Zoom due to the global pandemic and the stay-at-home orders in the state of California. We have one matter on our calendar today, and it is on the consent calendar, and that is Phillips 66 Company versus South Coast AQMD, and it is 4900-108.
It must be an internet-wide thing.
Hey, Austin,
Did everybody pop off?
you know,
Yes.
to increase the volume.
Yeah, I
Right.
got kicked off.
Just making sure it's just rebooting up now. Excuse me.
You gotta increase the volume. And move it.
We don't have Julie at
Ladies
all.
and gentlemen, this seems to be an internet-wide thing. It's happening to everybody. I just spoke with my supervisor, Anthony Tang, and it's happening to him too off-site. No explanation. I come into the district to get the great bandwidth, and so both Faye Thomas, Rosalinda, and myself are all being kicked off as well. So apologize. We don't know what it is. It's obviously a greater issue than it's out of our hands.
I think it's
So
something with the
best we
Zoom, Paul.
all turn our video off right now and let Madam Chair take it from here. And unless you need to speak, go ahead and turn your video on. Stream is still going.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Um,
seeing everybody too right now, Paul, but it seems like I think it's Zoom.
Anything
and
you
the-
want to add, Anthony, at this point?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It looked like it's something from the Zoom end that disconnected everybody and then now reconnect everybody back up without doing anything, really.
I don't see Julie or Mohan.
Yeah, we might have to look at the attendees. So we'll go ahead and move them back. But they actually really got disconnected.
Yep.
You should be able to see both Julie and
Okay,
Mohan.
I'm back.
Really?
I was hearing that it's some kind of Zoom issue. Is everyone being booted out?
Well, oddly enough, this morning, my Zoom app icon was not on my desktop at all. I had to go searching for it. So I don't know whether that was related or not.
I do not know.
And
Okay,
I,
do we have Mohan? I don't.
Yeah.
Yes, I do too. But your video is off.
There.
Okay.
My audio is still going in and out.
What did everyone hear? Did anyone hear any of what I said?
just that you were starting it.
Oh, great. Okay. Did I call the calendar?
Nothing. I heard nothing. I'm sorry.
It's
Everyone's
not
frozen.
your fault. No, it doesn't seem to be anyone's fault. But while we have everyone, let's try it. See if we can get through it. Oh, who do we lose? Okay, I think we have all the hearing board members. I think we lost Paul. Okay, but all of you can hear me?
Yes.
All right, let's try to get through this. I know we lost Paul, but we have the clerk, we have all the board members, so let's try to get through this. We have one matter on the calendar for today. It's on the consent calendar. And it is Phillips 66 Company, case number 4900-108. And the request today is for a modification to the existing variance and extension of the final compliance date. I'm going to start by marking all of the papers that we received. I'm going to begin by marking the joint stipulation of the parties, and that should be exhibit number 11. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to mark that joint stipulation as exhibit number 11. And it says that the petitioner and respondent agree to have the matter placed on the consent calendar. The petitioner seeks to extend the final compliance date of the regular variance. Parties agree to the declaration of Marshall Waller, okay, to be admitted into evidence, and we're going to mark that first. Okay, and just to be clear, board members, we're going to mark it as exhibit number 12. And originally you received an original declaration of Marshall Waller, and I had requested that the petitioner revise it to include very important information that we needed in order to make the findings today. And it was revised, and I'm only going to mark the revised replacement declaration of Mr. Waller, which includes
That's the one that states p.m. September 10th.
I don't have a date stamp, but it was sent on the 11th. And it has a paragraph number 13, which is on page 3, that says begins Phillips 66 has complied and continues to be in compliance with the conditions of the variance in this matter. Okay, so we're going to mark that replacement as Exhibit 12
And enter it into
I don't
evidence.
have
and
that.
enter it into evidence. Thank you.
Um,
Okay, and then we're going to move on in the stipulation. The parties also agreed to the declaration of Dr. Stutz of the University of California, UCLA, be admitted into evidence as well. So we're going to mark, we only received one version of Dr. Stutz's declaration, and we're going to mark that as Exhibit 13, and we're going to admit it into evidence.
thank you.
Okay, the parties have also agreed on a set of proposed findings and decision. And similar to the declaration of Mr. Waller, I had requested the petitioner to revise the original proposed findings and decision to reflect the findings we need to make for a modification and extension of a final compliance date. And so that also should have been received on the 11th, September 11th, as the replacement, and we're going to mark those findings and decision, the proposed, as exhibit number 14.
Thank you.
And the parties request the hearing board to decide this matter on the documents that have been submitted. And the respondent district does not oppose the request for, it says granting a variance, but for extending the compliance date. Okay. I'm going to look real quick. There's not very many people on our Zoom stream today. And so before we begin any discussion, I'm going to ask if there is any member of the public who is present today who wishes to be heard. And if so, either please look at the bottom of your screen. You will see where you can raise your hand virtually. Either do that or indicate by turning on your camera, or otherwise speaking that you wish to be heard at this time. Okay, I see no member of the public wishes to be heard. Board members, we have heard this matter several times. Essentially, this matter revolves around Rule 1180E and the requirement for the installation and operation of fence line monitoring equipment at Phillips 66 facility. That due date was originally for March 28th, 2020. And you will recall that petitioner requested this variance in the first place because even though the petitioner had completed all of the installation of its portion, of Phillips 66 portion of the fence line monitoring equipment by the deadline of March 28th, 2020, there was important additional installation of equipment that needed to be done by UCLA. And UCLA was under, or has been under, a lockdown. That lockdown order was lifted. UCLA did in fact ramp up all of its activities, and we believe we heard at the last hearing had installed virtually all of its equipment that it was required to do. There is a portion of it called the optical tent, and my understanding based on the declaration of Dr. Stutz that this equipment is a demonstration equipment. It is state of the art. It is novel remote sensing for fence line, and it will be used for monitoring oil refineries and ports. And that because it is novel and because it's so sensitive, it requires 10 light paths, 4 of which are at the fence line. There are some minor issues that still remain with regard to the reliability of the mechanical aiming of some of the telescopes at 2 of the sites, which have led to occasional outages of these systems. And some of the testing needs to be continued, and UCLA needs to continue for a little bit to adapt the hardware and software and identify and mitigate the issues that it is encountering or has been encountering. Therefore, the petitioner is requesting just want to make sure everybody's still here. Madam Clerk, did we lose you? I'm gonna pause here and wait for the clerk to, oh, there she is. Okay. All right, and we have all the board members. Okay, so the request today is from the petitioner to extend the final compliance deadline, which in the original variance was today, to 1 month or 30 days to October 15th, 2020, which will allow UCLA to finish all of its work, hopefully, and have this fence line monitoring up and running. There are no excess emissions in this matter.
You're
And
cutting
so,
in and
am I cutting in and out again?
No, you're fine.
yes. At least
Okay.
over here.
I think the hearing board members do hear me. Is that correct?
I think,
Okay.
I
Yes.
think the clerk is having, I think the clerk is having an issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So based on all of which I have just said, and the fact that there are no excess emissions, and it is a state-of-the-art monitoring system, and it is beyond the reasonable control of Phillips 66, and based solely on the pandemic, the lockdown at UCLA, and the fact that they are a bit behind schedule and encountering unforeseen minor issues, which they hope to clear up in the next 30 days. I can find good cause to, as is laid out in Exhibit 14, I could find good cause to extend and modify the existing variance. Those are my thoughts. And I'm wondering, board members, if anyone else has any other thoughts on the matter for a motion. Okay. No one else?
Julia.
Mr. Balagopalan? do you-
Julia, yes, I was going to say that I think you covered it all. That just about all the issues and the sequence of events that have happened. It appears from the declaration that UCLA has completed the installation, but they have to fine tune it because they came across a couple of issues with steam from one affecting the path of the light, and then looks like there's some vibration issue which is affecting the instrument. So it looks like they need that additional month to fine tune it and get it up and running. Plus, the declaration say they're collecting the data, and then once everything is fine, the data will be. I don't know if the past data will be uploaded, but moving forward, once everything's fine, the data will be on the website, which is one of the requirements of the condition to have the data available for the public so they can review the monitoring data. So it looks like they're on track, and UCLA is no longer the lockdown. So they should be able to work and complete, fine tune it, and hopefully get it done even sooner before the October 15th. And I'm assuming this is going to be the last extension that we probably be granting, because we have granted a number of extensions.
That's my hope as well. Any other thoughts? Thank you for that, Mr. Balagopalan. Yes, Ms. Verdugo Peralta.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with what you have said and what Mr. Balagopalan has also said. The COVID-19 obviously has affected this project and has added to the delays and main cause of the delays. And I think they have, in good faith, tried to move forward on this and just have not been able to for these reasons. I also am hoping that this is the last extension and that UCLA is able to fine tune their end of it. So other than that, I agree with everything that's been said, and I also can find good cause. Thank you.
Thank you too for those words. Any other thoughts before a motion is made? Okay, then I'm going to Phillips.
And
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? You're frozen, so I didn't see that. Senator?
I'm frozen now. Moving.
No, you're frozen.
I just had a few questions, but the letter that I received this morning may clarify things. And the finding and decision of the hearing board on page 3, it talks about UCLA. For example, UCLA, UV,
What document is that, Senator? I'm sorry.
huh?
Page 3 of what?
Of the findings and decision?
Decision,
Okay.
for example, the 2 UV telescopes, which are the main response components of the optical tech, were installed at this point in time in finding the decision. They're already installed. But then when you look at declaration of Mr. Marshall Waller, he just said that they're not installed. But the letter today clarifies it all.
Where, I'm sorry, where are you looking in the declaration of Mr. Waller, where it says they are not installed?
Yeah. UCLA portion of the fence line monitoring equipment has not been installed. They may be talking about the whole thing. But a portion of it has been installed based on the finding the decision. But
It's true, it does say that. I don't think that is correct.
the lower side. Anyway, the letter actually received.
Who makes it and who seconds it?
No, we haven't made a motion yet.
The letter received this morning.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
More specific. They're saying everything.
I think the clerk has it. Clerk, I think you have your microphone on.
I don't?
No, you do, Senator. I'm just looking back in Dr. Stutz's declaration to see if that's clarified in his. Yeah, so if you look at, I don't know why I missed that. I think I was more focusing on Mr. Waller's declaration for his part, which is that they are in compliance and continue to be in compliance with the conditions of the variance, etc. But you're right, that is incorrect, I believe, that the UCLA portion of the fence line has not been installed, because if you look at Exhibit 13, page 2, which is Dr. Stutz's declaration, paragraph 2, he states, the UCLA part of the fence line monitoring equipment has been installed together with all parts of the optical tent. This consists of the UV analyzers at locations 1 and 6 of the Wilmington plant and 10 reflector arrays distributed throughout the facility. So it has been done. And I think we'll take, that is inconsistent. I definitely missed that part. However, I think we'll take this declaration as the better evidence that it is completed. And I think that was an oversight on the part of the parties to leave that in, because I think that's probably a message.
I don't even know if they change to the Friday.
Rosalinda, do you hear us?
I do, but you guys are cutting in and out. So if
That's
you're
on
gonna
your
change,
end.
please let me know, because I can't.
Anything that you missed, but you haven't missed anything so far. All we've done for the minute order is to mark the exhibits and to admit those 2 declarations in evidence. And now we're
Okay.
having
I got
discussion.
those.
And I think that's a really important issue for our evidence train that the senator has pointed out. However, it seems it's just a vestige that remains
Now you guys
from.
are frozen. Oh, there you are.
Okay. Does everybody hear me?
I
Must be over
can.
here at the districts and
Rosalinda, if you could mute your microphone because we are freezing, but I think your end has more issues than the rest of the stream. So if we can
I
finish
can
this
hear
and
you
there's
better
anything you
now,
missed.
Madam Chair, than before. Everyone is doing better and looking better than 10, 15 minutes ago.
Okay,
This
but
is
I
Paul.
still, Rosalind, if you could just mute your microphone unless you need to talk. Okay, so as I was saying, I believe that that's just a vestige that remains perhaps from the previous declaration from the last modification. However, it's clear from the declaration of Dr. Stutz and also from the rest of the papers that in fact, all installation has been completed and all that remains are some minor issues that need to be worked out and which should be done by October 15th. Senator, was there anything else you had a question on? That was a good
Yeah,
question.
Just for
Yeah.
clarification, on page 4, conclusion and the order. On line 17,
Make sure I'm
the
on the
variance
right.
period,
So you're looking again at the findings and decision. Okay.
the variance period shall continue through October 15, 2020, or until UCLA staff is available and installation shall continue through October 15, 2020. And the installation testing can be completed without, whichever occurs first. Is October 15th, is that the cutoff date? Or if it's not the cutoff date, then the date can be open-ended depending on the completion of UCLA's work. If it's not done by October 15th, then what? Is the date open-ended based on UCLA? Anybody gonna respond?
I think we lost
We lost.
Julie.
She'll need to
We
come back.
lost Julie.
She's reading.
Should include the testing phase, just to clarify. So
Read that, I'm sorry.
installation should include the testing, so it's not fully installed until the testing's done. At least that's the way the district looks at it.
That might be after October 15th.
We're only asking for a variance up to the 15th. And after
Right.
that, it's on us to come back to the board or just be complete. And we think we
That should be clarified here now.
we think we'll be done well before the 15th. We should be done and not need to come back to the board.
If it's not done before the 15th, then what?
We may have to see some sort of another variance, but I think that's very unlikely because the equipment's been installed. We're in the testing phase.
There's a lot of
I should stop.
mitigation, a lot of to be performed. For example, the steam is a problem that they may not be able to overcome right away. You have the trucks driving by.
Senator Holden, they're working. They'll fix it.
Yes, Madam Chair, and I'm promoting you back to co-host. One moment, please.
The variance period. He's saying it shall continue through October 15, 2020. Now, if all of UCLA's testing and mitigation is not finished by then what's the cutoff date? The cutoff date is therefore open-ended because it may not be complete by then. I mean, going through that steam, circumventing that problem may be difficult. But the shock mounting of the system to avoid vibration may be difficult to get to the right amplitude.
We seem to have lost Julie again.
Lost Julie again, yeah.
What's she reading?
While we're waiting for Julie, I would just note that it says the variance period shall continue through October 15th, 2020, or until UCLA staff is available and the installation and testing can be completed, whichever comes first. Whichever
All
comes first.
Norton is not supposed to be appearing. Okay. Is it the question with the term? I missed that. So the question was with the term and what the term means?
I
you all hear-
believe Senator Holden had a question about the open-ended nature of the order. I was just
Okay.
pointing out that it does say whichever comes first at the end, but we're waiting for
Right.
Senator Holden to come back and he's here. So I'll
Well,
stop.
can you hear me?
And Mr. Norton, just a reminder, you have not appeared today.
I'm not appearing.
Can you hear me?
We see you, but you're not appearing.
You cut
Okay,
me off at the most important.
I'm just testing you to see if you can remember what you were talking about. Go ahead, Senator, I'm sorry. All right, so your issue or question was with regard to the term of the extension? Okay.
Yes.
So they're asking for October 15th or sooner if UCLA staff can be available and the installation and testing are completed. And it's really the testing that still needs completion. So whichever of those occurs first. So the order that we're being asked to extend today or grant today is an extension to either October 15th or sooner than that, if there's final compliance and everything's fixed before that. Does that make sense?
It may be after the 15th.
No, whichever occurs first. So if the 15th occurs first, then it ends.
You're right. They may have to come back. They may have to come back if they got two difficult problems to mitigate. The steam problem and the
What?
vibration problem.
I'm sorry?
The vibration.
Oh. My reading of the papers is that there are minor issues that UCLA is working on, out of the control of Phillips 66. And the best guess and the hope is that those minor issues will be concluded by October 15th.
They say that right now, but they may not be minor. I mean, when you get into trying to resolve it and fine tune the system, it may take some time. It may not necessarily be minor. The word minor could be misleading.
Well, that's true. And UCLA does say that this is novel. So they could get into it and have issues, but at this point, that's their best estimate.
It is what it is. I'll just move on then. I mean, I think that it could be finished by October 15th, or it may not be finished by October 15th, based on unique circumstances associated with the system. And the steam is, unless they shut down the system, the steam is going to be there. Truck's going to roll, which generate vibration. You have to go in and either fine tune with shock mounts at that site so you don't get the vibration. There are things they have to do. Their engineers know. I'm not going to tell them.
But isn't that the nature of why they would need time to test it?
Yes, which means it may exceed October 15th. That's my point.
Okay, so is your point though, either it could be one, you don't find good, I assume you find good cause, understanding that it's.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm
Right,
ready
to extend it.
I'm just pointing out some flaws that may surface in the future.
I may add, I think UCLA said they've identified the issues. They're currently adapting the hardware and software to identify and mitigate this issue, the issues with the steam and the vibration from the truck. So they are modifying adapting the hardware software to address those issues. I think in lines on page 4, item 6, they mentioned that.
I saw that. Even that's open-ended. You got to fine tune. You're adopting it. When do you come up with the final fix for the problem? That's all I'm saying. You know, I've been through this. I know.
You raise a very good point, Senator, and I just wanted to point out that October 15th at this point is the date. That is the date that the petitioner and respondent have agreed to. And unfortunately, I do not believe that they will have enough time notice-wise if they require an additional modification. So that's the date. So either it's done by that date or they will have to come back in here requesting additional coverage.
Only time will tell.
We lost the doctor.
Oh,
I don't see him anywhere.
you're correct. Did you notice when we might have lost him?
Maybe about 2 minutes ago, if not longer, because I saw him.
Let's see, we have some attendees. Let me see if he's come back in. Yes, okay. I brought him back in. Did we lose him again? I lost him.
I don't see him anywhere.
I found him in
Dr.
the,
Bernstein is back.
Oh, is he?
Promoted him. I just promoted him again. He dropped off.
right, I promoted him as well. We must have done it at the same time.
Which meant you
Goodness.
canceled them out.
I can't believe this.
This must
What
be
a
system wide.
joke. It has to be because, you know, I logged on early this morning at like 6:15 and there was no problem.
Apologize.
We can hear you.
Okay,
You have my number?
Yeah.
You have my number, right?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Okay, anybody hear me?
Yes. I don't see you, but we do hear you. Okay, Dr.
I
Bernstein.
don't, Madam Chair, I still
That
don't
just
know
happened
who
in
the
the-
phone number .241 is. I tried to unmute him or her and they didn't respond.
That may be one of the Phillips 66 people by the area code.
If you can hear us and your 310 area code ending in 241, that you did mute. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay, now you can talk, caller. Can you
Okay.
identify yourself for the chair?
Yes, my name is Lisa Fakney. Earlier we had some Zoom issues, so there's
Okay, are you here from the public?
no, I'm with Phillips 66.
Okay. Phillips 66 is not appearing today because it's on consent calendar. So unless you wanted to give public comment, there's no need to appear. And if you could mute your microphone, we would appreciate it.
Thank you, Madam
Mute
Chair.
your microphone, we'd appreciate it.
Can't mute it. You guys have to mute me.
Oh, I can't seem to do that. I don't know, Paul, if you, oh, there it goes. Thank you. Okay. Dr. Bernstein, I don't know if the last discussion we were having was with regard to the term and whether or not it was a realistic date by which final compliance could be made. And my response was that that's what the parties have agreed to. And I'm assuming they feel they have enough confidence in that date. Otherwise, I don't believe connecting to cloud server. You can all hear me still, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
no, I got it, Jules, no problem.
It's questionable whether they will have enough time for a noticed hearing to modify that again by the 15th of October. But that's the party's, that's actually petitioner's issue to worry about. But based on the evidence, I do agree it is novel. I think, Senator, you've raised two very good points today. I don't know if you had another, but with regard to that one, it's true, this is novel. These issues could, as they try to correct them, become more than minor. Hopefully that will not occur. And I think we can find good cause for sure to grant the extension, especially given that the question is whether they'll be completed in time. But all the indications are they should be, and the hope is they will. And if not, they'll have to consider what to do from there.
I agree.
Oh, go ahead, Senator.
I can find good cause. I just want to point out the fact that the fix, as I envisioned it, is a step function effort in terms of trying to fine tune the system to accommodate or offset, that is, the steam problem and the vibration problem. So it's gonna get ready. That's not so easy always.
I'm sure you know better than I do.
No, I don't know better than anybody.
You know better than me.
All right, that's all.
Thank you. Any other thoughts on the finding of good cause? Okay. I think everyone's moving. I think I see everybody. So if you needed me, just call out or otherwise raise your hand. We'll get you one way or the other. Okay, I'm going to make a motion then. In the matter of Phillips 66 Company, case number 4900-108, I move that we grant the requested modification and extension of the final compliance date for the regular variance that has already been granted by this board. I further move that we incorporate exhibit number 14, which are the proposed findings and decision of the hearing board. There continue to be no excess emissions in this matter. The final compliance date would now be either October 15th, 2020, or until UCLA staff is available and the installation and testing can be completed, whichever occurs first. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, Dr. Bernstein seconds the motion. Is there any discussion on that motion? Okay, seeing none. Senator, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Verdugo Peralta, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr.
Yes.
Aye. Frozen again.
Oh, shoot.
And Julie's frozen.
Now Julie's off.
Yeah. I think she was about to ask how I was going to vote.
Thumbs up. You can't speak.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's up.
She's totally gone. By the way, Mr. Norton, I love your background.
A little fishy to me.
It's one of those, where's Nemo?
Yeah, it's cute.
Cute. Thank you.
It can happen with these connections. Yeah, but
Varen, Chair Prusek is back.
Okay.
Julie, you might want to re-announce the vote verbally online so we get it for the record.
Yes, and I actually cut out before I got all the votes. So
Right, right.
the motion was made to grant the modification and extension to October 15th or until UCLA completes its work, whichever occurs first. And it was seconded by Dr. Bernstein. And I called on first on the senator and you voted. Senator, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Verdugo Peralta, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Balagopalan, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Bernstein, you vote? I assume yes. He
Frozen.
is frozen. He's frozen, but he did
I mean-
second. So he votes yes. I vote yes. Darn, we lost him. No, wait, there he is.
He voted yes, and the first time he voted yes. He seconded the motion.
He did.
I vote aye, as long as you have me right now. Aye.
Okay, and I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. We did it. Thank you to the parties for the papers. Thank you to petitioner for changing the papers, amending them, and thank you board members for an excellent discussion. And we really hope that this will be completed by October 15th. Is there any other business, board members, before we adjourn for today?
Yes, but I'll have to get that for you. Give me 2 minutes.
And we do have the hearing on for tomorrow, and I understand that at least one member has pulled that matter off the consent, so we will be having a hearing. However, be prepared that we will begin the hearing based upon the declarations that have been submitted, and we'll go from there. Okay, anything else? Thank you all. We are adjourned.
Thank you
Hey,
again.
everybody.
Thank you. See you guys tomorrow.
We're gonna try and get to the bottom of this. Thank you for your patience, folks.
Good job, don't worry.